Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome to another round of Young 78 Game Reviews. It's been quite some time, so welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about a great blast from the past. This game's called Hokuto no Musou, otherwise known on the stateside as Fist of the North Star, Pan's Rage. Now this game has been out for roughly a year in Japan and maybe over 6 months in the States, so I'm a bit late getting to this review. But most of you are familiar with this game in terms of the story that came from the anime Fist of the North Star, or in Japan, Hokuto no Ken. Today we're going to be talking quite a bit about the story elements of this game, basically how well Kyo/Tecmo, implemented the story in this game and kept true to the overall elements of the original anime series. We're going to be talking about gameplay in terms of how well they introduced the Dynasty Warriors engine and graphics into this particular game, and we're going to go dive a bit more into graphics, not just in terms of the overall look of the game, but in terms of style, how well the style holds true to the original anime. And also the music, because for me the music was great in this game, and it did remind me a lot of the old 80s riffs and stuff like that. Hi everyone, welcome to the story portion of this review. Basically, we're going to be talking about quite a few things. Let me get started by saying that I am a huge fan, not an old fan, a new fan, a huge new fan of the Hokuto no Ken series. This game is what got me into it, so I'm very glad Tecmo made this game. Because of this game, after last year when I started playing it, I downloaded the whole, I hate using the word download, but I had no choice. I downloaded the whole Hokuto no Ken series, and currently have on order the Blu-ray edition for the entire series because I'm a big fan of it as of last year. And so we're just basically going to be talking about how well they've implemented the story here. Now, as you can see, the game itself goes through specific events that happen in the actual series. Now, it doesn't go through everything, but it does go through quite a few different events. Now, most of you who are watching this review, there are some spoilers for those of you who haven't watched it, but for most of you who are watching it, you can see what I'm talking about. All your key characters are here. Kenshiro, Rei, Mamiya, which is, oh my god, I love Mamiya. She's the perfect woman in the world for me. Anyway, and the way that they did it was, between scenarios or between stages, you have these cutscenes, and even in-game you have cutscenes which help to tell the story as it goes forward. Now, the game does go through the entire series of Hokuto no Ken, which is quite a lot to cover, so it does skip some obvious things throughout the game. Now, some of these things that are missing are very key. I'm not going to delve into what they are, but I guarantee if you play the game, you will notice that they are missing. And to me, that was a bit of a disappointment that they didn't implement everything. But the review that you're getting here is actually the Japanese version of the game, and I do realize that when this game was released stateside, that they did add a few additional scenes and a few additional cutscenes and levels as well. So I'm actually missing those. But other than that, those missing scenes, it has stuck very true to the series. I mean, like I said before, all of your key characters are here. Now, Raul, to me, is the biggest badass in the world, and he's personally my favorite character. I know a lot of you like Kenshiro and Rei, but I love Raul. He's just like, this character is like, wow. He's just your typical, 80s boss who kicks some royal ass. Kenshiro is, how can I put it? Basically, as the story starts, most of you know this already, he loses his wife. This whole thing takes place in apocalyptic Japan, you know, where everything's been destroyed, war has torn the whole place up, and Kenshiro is one of the Kenshiro has one of the styles, otherwise known as Fist of the North Star. Now there are different styles, opposing styles, and these styles are basically based on pressure points throughout the game, or throughout the story, and each pressure point affects your character. Each pressure point affects the enemy differently, and basically how you touch them or how you fight against them. And you know, a lot of these attacks that Kenshiro does do basically blows the character up, or you know, enables his head to explode or his arm to explode, so on and so forth. And you know, for me, when I was looking at this, I was like, whoa. Now another cool thing too is that in the States a while back, I think it was in the mid 90s, not 80s, mid 90s or maybe early 90s, they released a movie called Fist of the North Star for the American audience. Now the movie only goes through the very first part of the series; it never goes beyond that. And I don't want to spoil any elements of the movie, and I don't even want to spoil any elements of the story for those who haven't watched it. So I do highly recommend that you do watch that movie. It's not great, and it doesn't really deter from the anime in any shape or form. It only takes place in the first portion of the anime. And again, Raul, I'm going to go back to him a bit. This badass character. He takes place. His character isn't really introduced until, you know, midway through the actual animation series, and he is like Kenshiro's ultimate rival. In the beginning, you think it's Lei, but it's not. It's actually this guy. Anyway, this is all I'm going to go into in terms of the story, because again, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody this time around. And I hope that all of you listening to this portion do take the opportunity when you play this game to please pay attention to the story. Oh, another thing I'm also going to mention about this game: listen to it in Japanese, not in English. The English dubbing is atrocious. It's really bad. So make sure you turn those Japanese dialogue on. Hi everyone, welcome to the gameplay and graphics portion of this review. Basically what you're seeing here is the menu system. There's a lot of things you can do in this game. It gives you the ability to go through the original story mode, which follows the anime pretty closely. You can go through an alternate story mode, and you can just play the stages. And here you're looking at the gallery, which gives you a lot of history. For those of you who have not watched the animation before, this is something that's great, because it enables you to go into each character's stats and profile, you know, and just give you an idea of who they are, and what their role in the story is. And beyond that, it gives you a lot of history behind the actual world in which this game takes place, which is, you know, apocalyptic Japan in the near future. And so the options in this game are quite nice. The gallery mode enables you to basically view all the videos that you've experienced throughout the game. And then the options is pretty basic. One of the things I will throw out about the options, at least for the US version, it does give you the ability to switch between Japanese and English. In this, you're able to choose from a vast amount of characters: Toki, Momiya, Kenshiro, and also, what's his name? Ray. I'm sorry, Ray. I keep saying Lei. And, you know, in the game, one thing I will point out right away is, for the original story mode and the alternate story mode, it has a different way of telling it. The alternate story mode is more of an arcadey more of an arcade-ish type experience, where every time you complete the level, you're rewarded with a movie or a story portion. And while the original story gives you kind of a comic book approach slash that movie approach, so you get more of the story from it, and it stays more true to the actual anime than the alternate story mode. Now, one thing I will mention about this version of the game is, as I said before, that there are a lot of elements missing in this when compared to the anime, and that the US version of the game, or the international, if you have the Japanese or international version, introduced a lot more to the story element, just to fill in a lot of the gaps that were missing. In terms of gameplay, this game utilizes the Dynasty Warriors engine, which it does a fantastic job of. Each character is unique and different. My personal favorite is Kenshiro and Momiya. They're both a tie for me. But Toki and also, what's his name? Ray, I keep forgetting his name, Ray, they are also pretty good characters to use. Kenshiro is your traditional Japanese, I'm gonna kick your ass martial artist. Momiya uses projectile weapons such as a spear, lance, or crossbow. Ray likes to slice his enemies in half, and he's very fast. Very, very fast. And his techniques are actually some of the easiest to use, and I do like his style, but I just prefer Momiya. Now, Toki is like the Chinese martial artist in the whole series, and he is just badass as well. And he's almost as powerful as Kenshiro in terms of usage. Anyway, this gives you a brief example of their different attributes. Now, this game does utilize some different platforming techniques as well, in which you're able to basically jump from area to area. You have to jump from one area to another, or climb certain ladders or mountains. So it does it okay. It's not the best platforming experience I've ever had, but since it is a Dynasty Warriors game, it's quite okay. And then the last thing I'm going to mention about it is in terms of graphics. Now, graphically speaking, this game is flawless with the exception of its draw distance. The draw distance is quite bad in terms of, when you compare it to games of today. So that's one thing that could be improved upon. Another thing I'm going to mention right off the bat is that sometimes the gameplay or the controls can get a bit jerky, and the camera itself can be a bit funny. That about sums up graphics and gameplay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this portion, and let me know what you think. Hi everyone, welcome to the last portion, to buy or not to buy. Definitely buy this game. It's well worth the money, and you are going to be happy you did. It's one of those games that is, for me at least, once in a lifetime. They've made lots and lots of Kenshiro games, or Hokuto games, or Fist of the North Star, as most of you want to say it. But this is by far the best one I've played, next to the PlayStation 2 fighting game, which came out in Japan only. And so, from my opinion, yeah, it's definitely worth it. Now, when you buy this game, make sure you please put the Japanese sound dialogue on, because the English dialogue is atrocious. So, yeah, final verdict, buy it, you'll be happy you did. Promise you won't regret the purchase. And it's one of those games where you can take your sweet time to play it, and you'll be playing this game for at least a year or two to come. And there's always something to go back and do in it. And again, if you are a Fist of the North Star fan, a Hokuto fan, pick it up. Without a doubt, pick it up. You'll enjoy this purchase. Let me hear you guys' opinions, what you thought about this game, what you thought about this review, good or bad. Thanks, and peace out for now.